Los Angeles. Its palm-lined avenues, its ever-clear sky, its illusions of perfection haunting every street corner. In this city where appearance is a modern deity, Camille grew up with a singular obsession: beauty. Not her own, but that of her future child. Married to Daniel for 3 years, she knows her love for him is sincere. Daniel is good, stable, predictable. He looks at her with a mixture of devotion and certainty, an unwavering love. But something stirs within her, a visceral fear she dares not share with anyone. What if their child is ugly? This thought consumes her. Daniel is an ordinary man, charming but without striking features. She loves him, but she doubts. The odds are not in their favor. She wants a magnificent child, someone the world will lay a red carpet for, whose perfect face will ensure a smoother future. This obsession leads her down a path she never imagined taking: infidelity. One evening, at a charity gala in Beverly Hills, she locks eyes with Alec Monroe, a rising Hollywood actor. Breathtakingly handsome, he seems to have stepped out of a dream. Every feature of his face is a promise of perfection. When he smiles at her, she feels her heart tip toward temptation. She has never been this kind of woman. Yet, in the shadows of the spotlights, amidst the murmurs of high society, she begins to consider the unthinkable. What if she secured an impeccable genetic heritage for her future child? And if, to guarantee beauty, she sacrificed loyalty? That night, a decision takes root within her, silent and irreversible. A decision that will change her life forever. Days pass, but Camille cannot erase Alec Monroe from her mind. She analyzes their exchanges, the way he looked at her, the charming glow of his smile. Her obsession with beauty grows uncontrollable. Guilt brushes against her, but she pushes it away. Daniel will never know. After all, this isn't about love, it's just a matter of genetics. The opportunity presents itself sooner than she expected. A cocktail party hosted by a production house brings her face to face with Alec once more. He recognizes her, greets her with an amused smile. This time, she doesn't run. They exchange a few pleasantries before he suggests a drink in private, away from the noisy crowd. She hesitates for a fraction of a second before accepting. Her heart pounds in her chest. In a luxurious suite, champagne flows freely. Camille lets herself be carried away by the adrenaline, the thrill of a life she never dared to touch. Alec, confident and at ease, seems to already know how the night will end. She closes her eyes for a moment, and when she opens them, she knows it's too late to turn back. What was supposed to be a simple escape becomes a burning reality. Every touch, every glance pushes her further toward the point of no return. At dawn, she leaves the suite in silence, her heart weighed down by a mixture of euphoria and rising remorse. Returning home, she finds Daniel asleep, peaceful, unaware of the shadow that has just fallen over their marriage. She slides into bed beside him, unable to sleep. She got what she wanted, but at what cost? The following days are a whirlwind of contradictory emotions for Camille. She tries to live a normal life with Daniel, but every glance exchanged reminds her of the betrayal weighing on her shoulders. The memory of Alec's arms, his intoxicating scent, haunts her thoughts. Daniel, oblivious, continues to be the loving, attentive husband he has always been, too trusting in their stable marriage to suspect the unthinkable. Yet, Camille feels something shift inside her. A crack has formed in the illusion of their perfect marriage. Every moment with Daniel now feels tainted by guilt. One morning, while making coffee, she catches her reflection in the kitchen window. She no longer recognizes herself. Her own lie suffocates her, making it hard to breathe. She wanted a perfect child, but in the process, she lost a part of herself. Fear sets in. What if Alec talks? What if, somehow, Daniel finds out the truth? She no longer knows whether she fears her husband's judgment or her own. One thing is certain, the weight pressing down on her only grows heavier. Days turn into weeks, and Camille struggles to hide her unease. She convinces herself that Alec Monroe will remain a mere detour, a secret buried in the shadows. Yet, anxiety settles within her, silent, persistent. One evening, while dining with Daniel in an upscale Santa Monica restaurant, her phone vibrates. A message from an unknown number. "I miss you already. When can we see each other again?" Her blood runs cold. She glances at Daniel, absorbed in a discussion about a work project. He suspects nothing. Trembling, she deletes the message. But she knows this is only the beginning. Alec has no intention of disappearing from her life so easily. That night, Camille struggles to find sleep. Every noise makes her nervous. Every phone ring makes her jump. She realizes how deeply her actions have created an irreparable crack. Alec now holds power over her. The next morning, as she gets ready to leave, another message arrives. "I can't wait to see you again. We need to talk." Camille's heart races. What if Alec decided to tell Daniel everything? She understands now that her affair, which she had thought would be without consequence, is about to become an uncontrollable storm. Panic completely takes over Camille's mind. Alec isn't content with just a memory. He wants more. And she quickly understands that it's not just her body he demands, but her attention, her obedience. She tries to ignore his messages, but he persists. Until one afternoon, she receives an email with a photo, one of them, taken without her knowledge, that night at the hotel. Irrefutable proof. A simple message accompanies the photo. "Shall we talk, or should I send it?" Camille falters. A crushing weight falls upon her chest. Alec isn't joking. Her perfect world is about to collapse. She doesn't know what to do. If she gives in, she'll sink even deeper. If she resists, her marriage could shatter. That evening, she forces herself to smile in front of Daniel. But her body trembles under the pressure. She must find a solution, and fast. Camille no longer sleeps. Every night, she startles at the slightest noise, imagining Alec lurking in the shadows, demanding more. She feels trapped, caught in a downward spiral with no escape. She decides to take control and sends him a message. "This has to stop. It's over." But Alec doesn't respond. His silence unsettles her more than a threat would have. Days pass. Alec remains quiet, but Camille cannot relax. The waiting is torture. Then, one morning, as she opens her computer, a new email appears, a video. Trembling, she clicks play. The images are unmistakable. Her and Alec in the hotel suite. Her nightmare becomes reality. She feels her world crumble. He could send the video to Daniel at any moment. Her only way out would be to confess before he does. But does she have the courage? Camille knows she can't back down anymore. Alec has a weapon against her, and she must find a way out before everything is exposed. She considers contacting a lawyer, but how could she explain her situation without incriminating herself further? The only solution she sees is to play Alec's game, make him believe he still has control, only to trap him. Finally, she writes to him, "Can we meet? I need to talk." A few minutes later, his response comes, "Tonight, same place, don't be late." Sweat beads on Camille's forehead. She must proceed carefully. One mistake, and everything will slip from her grasp. Night falls over Los Angeles as Camille meets Alec in the same bar as before. This time, she has a plan. Her phone is recording. "You got my message," she says, forcing a smile. Alec studies her, suspicious. "Are you finally being reasonable?" he asks, sipping his whiskey. Camille takes a deep breath and plays her part. "I just want to understand what you really expect from me." Alec sets his glass down and leans in closer. "You already know. I want you to be mine, unconditionally." The trap is set. Camille knows those words are enough. She discreetly stops the recording and stands. "I'll think about it." Alec smirks, confident. He has no idea he just signed his own downfall. Camille leaves the bar with her heart pounding. She has what she needs. Proof. Yet, she knows Alec won't back down easily. He is a predator, a man used to getting what he wants. The next day, she contacts a lawyer specializing in delicate cases. When she plays him the recording, he furrows his brows. It's a start, but it's not enough to accuse him of blackmail without risk. We need more. Camille's stomach tightens. She thought it would be simpler. Yet, she realizes she must play one last card. Confront Alec one final time, but this time with a witness. That evening, she sends Alec a message. "I'm ready to talk. Let's meet tomorrow, same place." She hopes this final confrontation will give her the escape she desperately needs. The next day, Camille arrives at the bar earlier than planned. She has asked her lawyer to discreetly sit at a nearby table. Her heart pounds as Alec walks in, a predatory smile on his lips. "So, have you made a decision?" he asks, sitting down. Camille clenches her fists under the table. "I'm willing to do whatever it takes to protect my marriage. You should give up this idea." Alec bursts into laughter, but his expression shifts when Camille places her phone on the table, screen lit up. "Everything you've said has been recorded, and not just this time." Alec pales. His eyes dart around the room, landing on the lawyer watching from afar. "Are you threatening me?" he growls. "No, I'm defending myself." Alec abruptly stands up, knocking over his glass. He knows he's trapped. Without a word, he storms out of the bar. Camille closes her eyes, feeling an enormous weight lift from her shoulders. Camille knows the ordeal isn't completely over. She still has to face Daniel. But instead of drowning in fear, she makes a difficult but necessary decision. She tells him the truth. One evening, she sits with him in the living room and confesses everything. Tears stream down her face, but she feels liberated. Daniel remains silent for a long time. When he finally speaks, his voice is broken. "I don't know if I can forgive you, Camille, but I know that you're brave for admitting it. The road ahead will be long, but Camille knows she has taken the first essential step. She never wants to be a prisoner of her mistakes again." Daniel struggles to process Camille's revelation. For several days, he avoids her, staying late at work or sleeping in the guest room. Camille respects his need for space, but the waiting is unbearable. She tries to make amends with small gestures, but she knows that nothing can erase her betrayal. One evening, she hands him a letter. "I can't force your forgiveness, but I want you to know that I love you and will do everything to repair what I've broken." Daniel reads the letter in silence. Then, without a word, he leaves the room. Camille realizes that forgiveness may be a luxury she will never obtain. Weeks pass, and an unshakable coldness lingers between them. But one morning, as Camille prepares coffee, Daniel finally approaches her. "I've been thinking, Camille." She holds her breath. "I don't know if I can forget, but I want to try. I want to see if we can rebuild something." Tears well in Camille's eyes. This is a step, a glimmer of hope. "I will do everything so you can trust me again." They don't hold hands. They don't kiss. But for the first time in a long while, the silence between them is no longer a barrier. Even though Daniel agrees to give their relationship a chance, Camille senses something is broken in him. Every glance, every pause in conversation reminds her how fragile their bond remains. One day, while leaving the supermarket, she spots a familiar figure. Alec. Her blood runs cold. He stands a few meters away, a smug smile on his face. "Did you really think this was over?" he murmurs, stepping closer. A visceral fear overtakes Camille. She thought she was free, but Alec never intended to let her go so easily. Camille takes a step back, her heart pounding. Alec advances slowly, his smile twisting into something more sinister. "You look scared, Camille. That's not like you." She grips her purse tightly, trying to mask her panic. She knows she can't run forever. Daniel has given her a second chance, and she refuses to lose it because of this ghost from her past. "What do you want, Alec?" she asks, forcing her voice to stay firm. He chuckles softly, shaking his head. "What I've always wanted. You. Did you really think you could erase me from your life so easily?" Camille shakes her head. "I don't belong to you." "That's what you think." She feels the panic rise, but she refuses to be intimidated. She lifts her gaze to meet his, determined. "I won't let you control me anymore." Alec raises an eyebrow, amused. But Camille knows he won't back down so easily. Camille returns home, trembling. She knows she can't keep running. Alec is a persistent threat, and she must act before he destroys everything she is trying to rebuild. Taking a deep breath, she dials a number. "I need your help." A few hours later, she meets a private detective in a discreet downtown cafe. "Tell me everything," he says, placing a notebook on the table. Camille recounts it all. The affair, the blackmail, Alec's constant threats. The detective listens in silence before nodding. We'll take care of him, but you need to be ready for anything. Camille clenches her fists. She knows the battle is just beginning. The detective devises a plan. Camille must lure Alec into a meeting and record their conversation. This could be used as evidence against him. She sends a message. I want to talk. Let's meet. Alec doesn't take long to reply. Finally being reasonable. Tonight, same place. That evening, she arrives at the meeting spot. Her phone discreetly records every word. Alec, confident, suspects nothing. So, are you finally ready to listen to me? Camille nods, playing along. I just want to understand what you really expect from me. Alec smirks, satisfied. You, Camille, I want you to be mine. If you refuse, Daniel will know everything. Nausea rises in her, but she stays composed. That's exactly what I needed to hear. Discreetly stopping the recording, she stands up and leaves, her heart pounding. Tomorrow, she will finally have a weapon against him. Camille spends a restless night, her mind tormented by the imminent confrontation. In the morning, she meets the detective, recording in hand. Is this enough to charge him? She asks. The detective nods. With this, we can threaten him with blackmail and harassment charges. If he's smart, he'll back off. Camille sends Alec a message. We need to talk. Come alone. A few hours later, they meet in a deserted park. She doesn't give him time to speak before activating the recording on her phone. If you don't disappear from my life immediately, this proof goes to the police. Alec stares at her, a twisted smile on his lips. Do you think that scares me? But Camille stands firm, her gaze unwavering. After a moment of silence, Alec sighs and turns away. You win this time. But Camille knows nothing is ever truly over with him. With Alec out of her life, Camille feels an immense weight lift. But the hardest part remains, repairing her marriage. One evening, she invites Daniel to dinner, an attempt to restore some normalcy. They eat in silence until Daniel finally breaks it. Do you think we can really move past this? Camille lowers her eyes. I don't know, but I want to try. Daniel hesitates, then slowly nods. Me too. It's not an instant pardon, nor a happy ending, but it's a start. Just as Camille begins to regain some peace, an anonymous package arrives at her doorstep. Inside, a simple USB drive. Wary, she plugs it into her computer and discovers a video. Her blood runs cold, footage from a surveillance camera capturing her last meeting with Alec. He never intended to disappear. A note accompanies the USB. Did you really think it was over? A visceral fear rises in her again. Alec hasn't given up. He's just waiting for the right moment to strike. Camille can no longer sleep. Every noise makes her jump. Every silhouette on the street seems threatening. She checks the locks 3 times before going to bed, but even then, her mind finds no rest. She decides to call the detective. He sent me a USB drive. He's watching me. The detective sighs. Alec is dangerous, Camille. You need to be careful. I'll see what I can do. But she knows she can't keep running. Alec is playing with her. He's waiting for her to make a mistake. Daniel starts to notice Camille's distress. He sees the dark circles under her eyes, the trembling hands, the tension in her every movement. He's back, isn't he? He asks one evening. Camille hesitates, then nods. I thought I was rid of him, but he's watching me. He knows where I am. Daniel places a reassuring hand over hers. You're not alone anymore. We'll face this together. His words lighten her burden a little. For the first time in a long while, Camille feels a glimmer of hope. Camille and the detective devise a final plan. If Alec wants to play games with her, she will turn the tables on him. She sends a message. You win. Let's meet one last time. Alec takes the bait without hesitation. They meet in a discreet hotel. But this time, Camille is not alone. The detective has alerted the police, who listen behind the door, ready to intervene. You finally understood. Who holds the power here? Alec murmurs with a satisfied smile. Camille remains calm. I just wanted to see your face one last time before everything collapses for you. Alec frowns. Before he can respond, the door bursts open. Police officers rush in and restrain him. Alec struggles, but it's too late. At last, Camille feels the weight lift from her shoulders. This time, it's truly over. With Alec behind bars, Camille experiences a mix of relief and exhaustion. The following weeks mark a gradual return to normalcy. Yet, a shadow lingers, her relationship with Daniel. She knows it will take time to heal the wounds left by this ordeal. One evening, they sit on the terrace, silently watching the sunset. "What do we do now?" Camille asks softly. Daniel gently takes her hand. "We move forward, one day at a time." Camille closes her eyes, savoring the moment. For the first time, she truly believes in a possible future. Freed from Alec's threat, Camille realizes she must also rediscover herself. For months, she lived in fear, haunted by the anxiety of her past choices. She decides to see a therapist. Each session helps her understand why she acted the way she did and to face her mistakes without self-condemnation. Guilt should not prevent you from moving forward, her therapist tells her. You have learned from your mistakes, and that's what matters. Camille leaves each appointment feeling a little lighter. Slowly, she learns to forgive herself. One morning, Daniel suggests a weekend getaway in the mountains. A moment just for them, away from everything. The first days feel awkward, but little by little, they rediscover their connection. A walk through the forest, a shared laugh, a glance exchanged by the fire. The wound is still there, but it is healing. "I never want us to go through this again," Daniel murmurs, holding Camille in his arms. "Me neither," she replies sincerely. They know things will never be perfect, but for the first time in a long while, they believe in themselves. Days pass, and life resumes its course. Camille and Daniel strive to rebuild their relationship, but some days are harder than others. Heavy silences linger, fleeting glances carry unspoken pain, memories resurface without warning. One evening, while having dinner, Daniel finally asks the question that has haunted him for months. "Why, Camille? Why did you do it?" She lowers her eyes, taking a deep breath. "I was afraid. Afraid of the future. Afraid that our child wouldn't meet the expectations I had for them. I thought I could control everything, but in the end, I destroyed everything." Daniel studies her for a long moment before nodding. "Thank you for being honest." He says nothing more, but Camille knows they are moving forward. Slowly, but surely. One morning, Camille receives an unexpected letter, a job offer in another city. An opportunity she would have once accepted without hesitation, but now it raises a crucial question. Daniel looks at her, perplexed. "Do you want to leave?" She hesitates, her heart torn between the urge to run and the desire to fight for what they've rebuilt. "I want to know what you want." He takes her hand. "I want us to stay together, but the decision is yours." Camille thinks for a long time before answering. Then she makes her choice. Camille chooses to stay, not out of fear, but because she knows her happiness is not somewhere else. It's here, with Daniel. They move into a new home, a fresh start where painful memories will no longer haunt every room. Slowly, they build something new, something stronger, founded on honesty and resilience. One morning, Camille looks at her reflection in the mirror. She no longer sees the woman consumed by doubt and guilt. She sees a woman who has grown, learned, and changed. Daniel embraces her from behind, pressing a kiss to her temple. "We made it," he whispers. Camille smiles. "Yes, and this time for good." Moral of the story: every action carries consequences, and the choices we make out of fear or selfishness can lead us down dangerous paths. However, redemption is possible if we are willing to face our mistakes, learn from them, and work to rebuild what has been broken. True love is not a perfect illusion, but a shared determination to weather life's storms and emerge stronger together.